Congressman, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Now, prosecutors recommended 15 to 21 months in prison, but she walked away with a $5,000 fine. How did that happen?
Yeah, federal judge in the Eastern District, Lynn Edelman, who I've known for many years. He served in the Wisconsin State Legislature with me. I think what happened is the old good old boys club is still alive and well. And if you look at his ruling, what he basically said was, well, you have to look back on her record over the years. She's done some great things, slap on the wrist, and may even consider some of the things, punitive things that were done to her prior to even the sentencing. So, Maria, it's unbelievable, I think, that not only is there so much resistance to ICE doing their job, but then when somebody follows through and actually prosecutes, and I think we're starting to see this more nationwide, then there's a dismissive kind of attitude about, well, these aren't really serious types of crimes, so let's not treat them as so. It's outrageous. So
does this create a precedent for maybe obstructing lawmakers, obstructing ICE agents is no longer punishable?
I hope not. I mean, I think if any of these types of cases continue to go before the federal judges, though, like I said, I think there's kind of a you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and we'll look the other way on how serious some of these offenses are.
Let me get your take on this other House Judiciary report recently, which found South Korea is discriminating against U.S. companies. Coupang was mentioned, otherwise known as the Amazon of Asia. The report says that South Korea's actions violate a trade agreement negotiated last year by President Trump. Tell us about this report.
Yeah, I think the Judiciary Committee did a great job in trying to cover kind of all the bases on this. We've started to see this globally, I think. What's going on in South Korea is they have a very left-leaning government right now. And as I think you've reported on this show, very close to China, actually, which is alarming. And at the same time now we see that they're starting to target any company that's American doing business on South Korean soil. So this is kind of the latest example. And this report also, I think, demonstrates the idea that, there's a lot of different ways of harassing American corporations doing business overseas. But it seems like South Korea has kind of really targeted this one corporation. So the report was very effective. I thought it was something that needs to be utilized as we continue to look at how South Korea is doing business right now.
Well, let's talk about what you could do in terms of the days left. You've got limited time, obviously, before the August recess and then the midterm elections. And we're waiting to see really what major legislation can get done. The 21st Century Road to Housing Act could become law this Friday, with or without President Trump's signature. Can you explain how that could happen? The president had championed this bipartisan bill, but then he canceled the signing ceremony, saying that he would not sign it until the Save America Act passes. But, Congressman, you and your colleagues have said that it will pass anyway.
Yeah, listen, Maria, I was with the president last week in the Rose Garden and a couple of other members as well. And he's still very much using this as, listen, I'm not going to sign the housing bill as long as we don't have the Save America Act. He said, I'm not excited about it. He's indifferent to it, I guess you could say at this point. That's not good for us, I think, on any angle. We need to continue to lean on the Senate. I know it's something that's been said ad nauseum at this point, but they need to find a way to get to either Reconciliation 3 or some other procedural move in the Senate to try and make this move. Because the last 2 weeks that the House was in, people probably noticed we just spin ourselves kind of into this place where we can't get the votes for anything. We can't pass a rule. And we certainly don't want that to take place again next week. So I know that Speaker Johnson has been working on this. I know that the president has been very vocal about it. And I'm still optimistic. Yeah, we're down to like 20 legislative days. And if we don't get this thing done, I think what you're going to see is a lot of other members who have not really raised many of these issues on a regular basis, they're going to start to step forward, and it's going to change the dynamic of what's going on in the House conference right now.
So if you can get President Trump to focus on one additional legislative action, what would it be? What would be your must pass by November?
Oh, I mean, if we're talking about the housing bill, it would be to sign this.
Not necessarily the housing bill, anything. What's most important? Because you've got limited time, you've got a lot of things. You've got the NDAA, you've got housing, you've got permitting. There are a number of things that people would like to see get done before November.
Well, NDAA has to get passed. We have too many members trying to attach things unrelated to it right now. We're in a war in Iraq. That's, once again, kind of at the forefront. If we don't get that done, we're going to have serious issues down the road. And then the other one that's languishing is FISA, right? As a member of the Judiciary Committee, we focus on it each and every week. Yeah. But it's the same type of thing. It needs to get done and needs to get done now.
Well, Tiana Logesher, jump in here. There's not a lot of time to get it done.
Yeah, and I know that Senate Majority Leader Thune, he wasn't eager about doing reconciliation too until the president sort of forced his hand. So what are the odds? Could there be a third one? You mentioned FISA, and I'm also curious, the defense supplemental, there are reports now that the Pentagon is saying we need cash fast.
Well, the person to get on board is Jason Smith. I mean, Ways and Means are the ones that typically are able to pull together these packages. So if, and I've had conversations with Jason Smith, like a lot of other members, if we can get this done, because 2.0 was really kind of just a way of working around the issues that we had related to immigration. This is different. This is actually something where you could work with individual members who may have an individual legislative piece that is not going to make it all the way through unless it's part of reconciliation.
Yeah, I mean, that's
but it needs to be pulled together very quickly in Ways and Means.
Yeah. And that's why Jason Smith, chairman of House Ways and Means, has been with me on this program saying we got to get as much done as we can now. He wanted to get as much done as possible when actually he did the reconciliation bill a few weeks ago. Congressman, we'll be watching. Great to see you this morning. Thanks very much. Scott Fitzgerald
Thanks
for joining us. Thank you. We'll see you soon.